Sula kuruchati antengalo ntegeze.
Over the Kampala night sky, the dusk glares over a profession that is publicly repulsed and haunted by the authorities. This is a story of Uganda's women tangled in the bloom of sex work.
Natukunda Diana, nze ndi mukyala neekolera jange muri 40-46 waka.
Mannya gange nze Jalia Nakintu.
Mannya gange yenze omulongo Kizza. Ndi neekolera jange.
Amanya bampita Natasha Zahabu.
These are women, ordinary women like any other, fending for their families, struggling with every measure to have a life and a livelihood in a country with one of the world's leading unemployment rates.
Life on this street.
For 3 months, we would travel to Katosi landing site in Mukono, Banga, Bwaise, Makindye, Ntinda, and Salama Munyonyo to meet these women. And in a local suburban slum in Namungona, we met Natukunda.
Nkira ku machangu era omukazi ovunaanyizibwa ng'omukazi omulala yenna. Nentegekera abaana bange ebyokulya. Nemmala neneetulira ku TV n'abaana bange ne tulaba obuzannyo. Bwe ngenda okukola ng'omuzadde era ndeka ntegekedde abaana bange ne mbasiibula bulungi buli omu n'atuma kyayagala ne ngenda ne nkola.
Away from her night duty, Natukunda has found avenues to work during the day. At a local market within the heart of Kampala, she toils away with the restaurant business. Natukunda's clients at the restaurant are people from all walks of life. They are unaware of her other job and do not judge her because Natukunda is like any other woman.
Entambula nkozesa taxi bwe mbanva ewaka nga ngenda okukola. Mpozi bwe mbanvuddewo leeti nnyo obudde obugenzi obw'ekiro obwo lwe nkozesa ka boda.
On one end in Bwaise, we met Mutoni Doreen. Her story is numbing, yet it helps understand why she ventured into this line of work.
Amanya gange mpitibwa Mutoni Doreen, kolera kawempe Bwaise, Bwaise 1, Bwaise 2, Bwaise 3. Era ndi mukyala Neeko. Natandika omulimu guno 2024. Waliwo omukyala nga bamuyita Ndida. Ninawe nnali. Nempitangawo nnyo nga ndabawo abawala. Embeera gye nalimu nange teyali nnungi. Kuba bakadde bange baali banfaako. Saasoma. Naye nga neesimisa nnyo abawala bali ababeerawo. Nenja nnumba omukyala yali talina magulu, yazaalibwa talina magulu. Naye nga yesenga w'abakyala abo. Banneekolera jjanga abakolerawo. Ne mutukira ne mugamba senga, nange mbadde njagala nnyingire mu mulimu guno. Nangamba kikwetaagisa 3,000 okuwandiika mu bitabo by'abakozi oba ebitabo by'abawala abakolera wano.
One ought to discover how they joined the business.
Sinza gamba nti waliwo omuntu eyampaliriza okujja mu mulimu guno. Nesalirawo nganze nengutandika, natandikira ku Local Gardens before bimwe bimanyikiddwa ku byebbeeyi mu Uganda. Benna gutandika okusooka challenge nasooka okufuna nali manyiridde bino ebyobufumbo. Mu kusooka nsanga abantu bakwatwa ne basikooli n'engamaze bino n'amalako ne Katonda watalira nguzi watasosolera abantu be nenfuna chance. Nenfuna tubayita ba middleman bamutuma yali wa boda ne bamutuma omukyala najja n'asiima nze n'antwala nenfuna client eyampa ssente empitirivu okusinga ku mirimu ya nali nkoze.
So Mutoni and Natukunda were not forced into sex work, but they are women we met within Kampala. So we crossed over to the shores of Lake Victoria, where Omulongo Chiza Rehema's start in the business of sex work was sparked off by Uganda's unemployment rate.
Kolera wano Katosi.
omulimu guno okugutandika okugukola nali nkolamu owino ebyowino ne bigaana nenzira ku street nga ntunda nnyaanya bumonde butungulu Jennifer Musina atugobaganya bwe yatugobaganya kwe kufuna mukwano gwange yali ndowooza yabikola kodda n'atukwatako n'atuleeta ku batwali babiri n'atuyigiriza nange okuva olwo mulimu ne gugendera ddala mu maaso.
While reports from Trading Economics show that unemployment rate in Uganda decreased to 3.8% in 2013, unemployment rate in Uganda is still at a record high. As of 2010, unemployment stood at 4.20%. Natasha Zainabu's story is no different, owing to this rather unfortunate unemployment in the country.
Nagenda okuyingira mulimu nga sirina mulimu nga nonyeza mulimu okufuna mulimu no mu Uganda kizibu kubanga sasoma kinene ogeze ma hoteli tebakusasula bakubonyabonya olusi bakusosola kati nga ffe tuli baki bakongo bakusosola biki bagamuli enkima biki ate nga siki kituufu emirimu nejimbula nengamba lwaki si joininga.
Batandika okuyiga abakyala bana abalinga akabozi mu kitundu.
Abamu ku bamalaya abakwatiddwa bakaabye nga bagamba nti bawalanga bwereere bibatunda byabwe ng'abalala bategeezezza nti ekibakozesa obwamalaya banoonya buyambi bw'abaana.
The media in Uganda has, since the advent of the anti-pornography bill and the HIV bill, covered massively a range of stories showing how brutally arrested and tortured Uganda's sex workers have been.
Poliisi egamba nti omulanga gw'abatuuze gwe gubawaliriza okukola ekikwekweto kino.
Gavumenti lwaki poliisi bwejje yoola bakyala eby'omu kisenyi bayoola bakazi be babateeka kabangayo ne balaga nti bano babadde mu kikolwa naye teri musajja gwe baalaga ku midiya naye nga omukazi bamukwatira ddala ng'ayambala mpale yali ava waani.
Despite their efforts to hide for fear of shame, the media has not made their work any easier. Most of their families are in fact unaware of the kind of work they do.
Nina abaana basatu ate si bokka waliyo n'abalala kale waliyo friends kati waliyo sistange gwe musanze wewaka oyo ne mama wange biseera ebimatera okujja nakola ki naddayo ne bali happy.
Abaana bange bakyali bato tebamanyi mulimu gwenkola ne bamanyi ndi mukyala mudigize ennyo sibeera waka era ne banjagala tebanfuna mpozi nga badde bakiŋŋambye
tebamanyi bo bamanyi si bamafe akola kiro mu factory tebamanyi tulina kale abatumanyi wetubeera around batuyisaamu amaaso bw'oli gundi etunda oli gundi kale ate n'abanaafe bakola ki babiwulira. Ekyo ekintu ekisasinza okumalamu ku maanyi.
Sex work is not an ordinary mainstay of employment in Uganda. It has its range of challenges for the sex workers, the brothel owners in whose facility sex workers engage their clientele, and also the beneficiaries living off the incomes of the sex workers. These challenges, we found, are categorized mostly three-part: the police, the law, and health.
Poliisi eno erudde ng'etukwata bw'ejja kukwata ekyembi abasinga twekweka abantu bewaffe obutamanya mulimu gwe tukola ne poliisi buli lwejja ejja n'abamawulire wano eby'okukwata ekujja mu kalumu n'omusajja ekusanga ku street nga baba amawulire bakwata ng'abeewammwe balaba ne tusanga ffe baneekola jjaffe nti osanga obuzibu bw'amaanyi waka wavayo okwesa omulimu ate ku street bagulabye olwedde nga tolina kyotaasa bwe mala okukwata ekifo ky'okukwatisa amateeka ng'abantu abalala oba olw'okuba nti nze mba ntyanga omuntu nosanga owaddeyo ssente zo bw'oba obadde tonnakola nga wakatuuka ku bbala ate n'omala n'owaayo ebibyo ne bakuzinira obwereere ekitandibadde kituufu nga tewaze kunoonya ssente.
N'abaserikale bennyini batuyiga bajja osinga basanga osinga mulimu action ne babakwata ate osinga bagamba naffe twagala.
Ebintu byenfunye mu mulimu guno poliisi wano mirimu gyange maka gaayo singa yazimbirawo ddala ennyumba yaayo nebeererawo ddala kubanga ekutte abantu baffe nange kennyini amakooti amajaketi amasaati gali ku mapoliisi kati olwala n'omutima omutima omugulaba mu mulimu guno olina okulwala omutima.
Mutoni narrated her encounter with the police. This haunting experience was thanks to Mohammed Chirumira before he was moved to the rank of Inspector General of Police at Buganda Road Police Station.
Nganzire Kasubi. Ebiseera bye waliyo omusirikale nga bamuyita Chirumira. Chirumira nga yiganya bamalaya. Chirumira nga yiganya bamalaya ngokula bamba oli malaya. Ngajja kuyolawo paka lwali kusiba n'okuwa n'okola ki. Chirumira nga nkwata. Yatukwata bangi teyakwata nze nzekka. Nga tukwata emirundi zamuke yatukwata emirundi nga 8. Lwagiranga agamba olwayo njagala mbamalemu obwo obwamalaya bwe mwetunza. Nga Chirumira tukwata nga tuteeka mu luumu ya poliisi. Nga tugamba mujjemu engoye. Musimba amagulu. Naye nga empiza batukuba zo ziri buyi. Ate malayo kujjamu empala kiinamu obuzibu ki. Nga twambula mpale nga Chirumira ajjayo mu batumu. Nga tandika kwagala tuyingiza mu batumu. Nga tukuba enulu nga abasirikale nga bajja nga bakuba ffe. Nga batukuba.
The police ranks very highly on the radar of these challenges. Most sex workers have had several rundowns with the police, and as Mutoni, more than 8 times in 1 week. But to better understand the extent of the involvement of the police, their brutality, and the abuse of human rights within the faculty of sex work, we spoke to 3 organizations of sex workers and individuals who have had this exchange with the police.
As an organization, we face the challenge of political and the legal environment that is not friendly. The stigma and discrimination related to sex work is also still very high, despite all the hard work that we've done. And then the police raids in some of the places that we haven't sensitized, also still high.
Police does a lot of violations like raping sex workers, assaulting sex workers, and again sex workers face a lot of violations when it comes to arrests. The way they are arresting them is not the way they are arresting other people. They are like arresting animals or maybe criminals.
I would not say that we are 100% guaranteed when it comes to security, because yes, we always talk to police officers on duty, we talk to LCs around the areas where we work from, but most times it also happens that they still come and arrest sex workers, so it's not something that we can guarantee.
At the main police station in Katwe, Inspector Jackson Bogire was rather receptive. He is aware of the complaints of the sex workers in their engagement with the police.
Tuyinza kugamba nti kikyamu kubanga ddembe lyabwe okwemulugunya kibanga kibatuuseeko naye kyamukisa mubi nti tebavuddeeyo kujja kuba nti baleeta okwemulugunya okulinga so nga n'abatono abavuddeyo tugezaako kubayika nga tubayamba ngeri omuntu omulala bwe yandibadde kubanga tetukkiriza muntu yenna akolera mu nkola ate yakulinnyira ddembe lya mulala omu bw'aba alina omusango gwakoze mutwala omuvunaana omusango ate okusinga bw'omuvunaana bw'onobeera nga gwe mulamuzi mu kiseera kyekimu n'omuwa ekibonerezo omuggyeko ebye ate n'omwana omutwala ku poliisi so tugamba nti nabo bennyini singa baba batuusiddwako embeera efamire tubakubiriza bajje ku poliisi abe nga beemulugunya era tuli beetegefu bakolako ng'omuntu omulala
basooka kale nga tebagala kukolako naye kati ffe wali tulina mikono gyaffe nga baki nga basirikale bwabakwanguza obayo akantu akatono ne bakola ki ne bakuyamba era musajja bamukwata ne bamusiba era nasasula ddabu.
Eno ku mwalo tebiriiyo ebyo kizibu okufuna poliisi ng'etusumbuwasumbuwa.
Wano tutulina poliisi tuddusa kubanga twali twafunako ko emisomo egimu ne tuyita ku bapoliisi ba OC ba defense ab'okukyalo ne tutuulako ko nabo mu bifo ebimu era kale bwe tubanga okufuna obuzibu nga abasajja bano abali ebintu nga tebaagala kumala nga bawoomeddwa tuba tusobola obbakubira kasimu bajja ne batuyamba.
We are doing a lot of sensitization with the police because we want to strengthen the working relationship between sex workers and police. We've done a lot of dialogues with the police, though as I said, they do violate sex workers, but we have some who are friendly to us. We are doing a lot of behavior change programs with the police, and sometimes they do give us security tips on how we can protect ourselves.
Tubalabira mu kifaananyi kya omuntu omulala yenna kubanga ogyeko kye bakola ekimenya amateeka basigala bantu balina bubeezi nsonga ezitali zimu lwaki bali mu mulimu guno okubayisa banneeko. Ffe nga poliisi tugamba nti abantu bano bakyamu basi mutawaana wagaffe ogamba nti ono mukyamu naye okuleko yabakontanye n'amateeka yagambye okuba nti alina omusango waziiza so sigamba nti bw'aba akola omulimu guno nti abeera mukyamu oba poliisi tuteekedde omulago bubi.
Nsooka kwebaza afande boogere era nkidda ku afande boogere awo kubanga twakyakalalamuko awo katono wabula afande boogere n'atugatta era kwe kutuuka tuteekateeka tukola okulaba nti tugulawo n'ekibiina ekyo kye tubagamba ate ne tuggulawo we tulina okuyimirira owatali buli wamu wabula okuyimirirako mu bitundu nti bye baatuwa ero si bye yatulagandika kati wano yatuwa mu kayemba awo tetusukkawo wano wekyemmanga tetusukka kisenga awo wali mu maaso ga kalina yatuwa kalina yaffe weekoma.
Approximately 15 sex workers are arrested every day, and the strong criminalization of sex work does not do them any favors. A human rights lawyer explains this oppression against sex workers.
Most sex workers are arrested, but there are very few who are actually charged with the provisions that criminalize sex work. Even those who are charged with being rogue and vagabond and other, laws, not specifically laws that criminalize sex work, most of them actually are not produced in court. The law enforcement uses the laws that we have to actually harass sex workers, to extort money from sex workers, to really do all sorts of violations, because we have had sex workers who actually have complained of sometimes being asked for sexual favors to be released. So that's where I get the problem.
The Media Council drafted a press release about the arrest of prostitutes as a Directorate of Ethics and Integrity from the Office of the President. This was a response to the escalating prostitution and pornography in Uganda. The statement by Reverend Father Simon Lokodo read that prostitution was discussed by the 7th Parliament as a controversial matter and prostitutes were referred to as sex workers. However, there is no such term under our law. This clearly means that prostitution is not considered work in Uganda.
Under our penal code, it's not called sex work, or we don't have in our definition a sex worker. We have a prostitute, and we have prostitution as what you call sex workers. So sex workers are actually under laws are termed as prostitutes. So there are quite a number of provisions in the penal code that criminalize sex work. Prostitution itself, and it prescribes the term of imprisonment as well. We have provisions that criminalize owning a brothel, because a brothel is where sex workers do business in most cases. We have provisions in the penal code that criminalize third parties. In this case, because they criminalize the people who live on the earnings of sex work or of the prostitution. So if you're a sex worker, you're on the street, you have children, you have your mother, you have your relatives. Your business is to go on the street and find clients and, make some money, and your children go to school, and you can pay rent, and you can buy food. Your children, your parents, your relatives can be criminalized because then they are termed to be living on the earnings of prostitution.
Father Lokodo's report also marked the date, Thursday, 5th March 2015, when a man and a woman were arrested in a brothel in Bakuli, a Kampala suburb.
Bukasangiddwa ku lubalaza lw'omuntu ng'aleze omukazi n'agamba poliisi emunnyonyola eddi okulera omuntu lwe gwafuuka omusango mu Uganda.
Natasha Zahab earlier revealed that she has kept her work secret from her family and children, but it is no easy task. They do not have a friendly, enabling environment. Raptured with stigma and discrimination in health facilities, let alone by the law, the sex workers are held against the wall. Yet again, what is the sex workers' understanding of the law? These laws have raised grudges among the sex workers.
Kakati amateeka nga bw'owulira erya HIV bill gatunyigiriza ate lyatusattiza nnyo. Bagenda ne batugamba nti ne bw'oba nga oweerera mwana ku ssomero, ne bw'oba olabiriramu maama wo, ne bw'oba osasulamu nnyumba ewa landlord, babakwata ne babavunaana lwaki balya ku ssente z'omuntu nga atunda omubiri gwe.
The HIV Act that is also directly affecting the sex workers, where one is forced to go and test, and they're also entitled to open up to your family and friends, which is something that we don't believe in as sex workers. And the Anti-Pornography Act, which also directly affects the sex workers, because when it comes to the way we dress, we as sex workers believe that we have to attract clients, and the only way we can do that is dress skimpy.
Human rights activists and a group of sex workers have filed a constitutional petition challenging the constitutionality of the recently passed Anti-Pornography Act 2014.
Olwo nekiteeka ekirala kye nnawulira ekya mmini. Kati sex worker osobola okukolera mu gomesi? Era olina kukolera mu lugoye lumpi okusobola okuba nti osikiriza ki? Bakasitoma. Kwegamba ebiteeka ebyo ate nabyo bitunyigiriza nnyo. Ate poliisi olukiwulira n'etandika okuyita mu tukwata. Ne tubanga ebyo ebiteeka ffe tetulina we tuyinza nabbisanyukira n'akamu. Tetulina.
It really violates sex workers' rights because dress code is key to the work we do. And we also have the HIV Prevention and Control Act, which discriminates HIV positive sex workers because of the clauses in it. There is mandatory testing, and also there is disclosure of sex workers' results, which leads sex workers to work undercover. Again, they don't access health services because of the clauses that discriminates them. They don't go to hospitals, and we know when it comes to health, it's a priority for sex workers.
In 2012, on December 13th, Global Press Journal, an online publication, reported that female sex workers in Uganda have one of the highest HIV infection rates among female sex workers in the world. And as we found out from healthcare practitioners in the country, health is a major issue for sex workers.
Okusomesebwa okujja mu bw'obulamu nti bakira nti tufuna banjawulo ate buli omu ajja n'endowooza yiye. Mulimu ave wakanga azze kukebera neeko kyeki nga tazze kulaba kugula oba kukuwagira. Wabula ne mutuuka mu room n'atayagala kondomu ne mudda mu byokkaaya n'oluusi alina ekirwadde kye kyatambuza ne mudda mu kulwanagano kakana nga bwe tukimanyi nti lubeerera omusajja aba akusinza amaanyi. Ogenda okukakkana nga bakumezze.
Bantulugunyiza ddala. Oli ne tulwanagana olw'okwambulako kondomu ng'ayagala kwambulako kondomu. Abamu bagamba ziba babula. Abalala mbu zirwaza kansa.
Gwe nagendako yasooka kuŋŋamba protector eruwa. Ne muddamu protector sigirina. Naŋŋamba genda ku dduuka ogule. Teyaŋŋamba nti oba nze njirina mpe ttaano ezo twebake.
Oluusi naawe omukazi okozesa abasajja bangi okaze okakananga kondomu eyabise. Tolina wojja ddagala ku ssaawa gye tuwulira nti peepu twakajja tugimanye mu biseera bino ng'emisomo gitandise naye we twatandika tetwamanyanga peepu kyeki oba oyinza kusala magezi ki.
Kati bw'eba eyabise ng'eyabise kiro kuba egize ekiro tetubaawo na ntambula yonna egenda tutambuza wabula tulina kukeera ku makya ne tugenda ku mapi ne batuwa peepu.
At MAPI, a health facility within Mulago, the National Referral Hospital, we met Marjorie Nachimuli, who has worked directly with sex workers.
Yeah, we sensitize them. If at all condoms break and someone is negative, we tell them to come for PEP. If not coming here at MAPI for PEP, then they can go and access PEP in other health center. However, sometimes even they don't know how to keep these condoms very well, because sometimes they put these condoms in their wallet, and you know it's very hot. We're in a hot season, so sometimes condom breaking, it has so many challenges. The way you keep it, the way the manufacturing date and the expiring date, sometimes they don't think about it. So by the time when you go there to sensitize and then they bring some samples, you realize that even those they are expired condoms, and some of those condoms they have taken long when they are in their bags. As we talk now, there are those ones who can't afford having transport to come at the facility, and some of them they fear to come on the facility and open up that I'm a sex worker, I sleep with 10 or 15 men. So that is the big challenge. That's why when they come at facilities, it becomes very difficult for you to treat her, because she doesn't tell you the whole story. And you know, with health, we need the whole story so that we can help out that person. So that's why MAPI came out to go and sensitize them, for them to understand, for them to start giving the right information so that we can provide services to them. And another challenge is that most of these people are stigmatized by the community. So they fear to move out in the communities. They fear to talk more about themselves. That is a very big challenge. Much as we have started tackling it, we have started sensitizing them for them to come out and access services and even talk about themselves. So we have a very big challenge to those sex workers who are not near in Kampala, who are in other districts. If other districts have condom stock out, then it becomes a challenge to these sex workers. That's why now we are stretching ourselves to see that we move to those districts and we provide services to those sex workers who are there, and even we orient the service providers within the districts for them to understand on how to provide friendly services to these sex workers.
To better channel health services for themselves, sex workers' organizations in Uganda have come up with peer-to-peer-led communication. This is just one of those avenues that organizations of sex workers have developed to improve their livelihood.
We have different organizations for sex workers, but we use peer-to-peer approach. We have peer educators amongst us, and also we've done a lot of advocacy, and we have healthy service providers, healthy facilities, which has come on board to work with us, especially in Kampala district. We do a lot of activities. We do outreaches. We have community outreaches where we do, with the help of partners, with the support of partners, we do HCTs, and also we distribute condoms and healthy brochures. We have trainings concerning health. we distribute lubricants, and also having all those, it's like a platform for us to meet and talk about issues that concern us. We do a lot of activities concerning health, like I said, through our peers. We have referrals. We have a referral system where we give our members referrals to go and access health services in the friendly, healthy facilities that we do have.
So, we spoke to a peer communicator, Jaliana Chintu.
Kituufu nze mbakolera ndi peer waabwe. Naye obuzibu bwe ngufunyeemuko, banneeko bafuna ebizibu bingi nnyo. Abakyala bafuna ebizibu, olina kkubira essimu ng'akuvuma ayitawo nnambula ewaka, nze ndi mulwadde, nze ndi eno ndi mulwadde, sina na kyakulya, ate oba olina okugenda okumulaba ewaka we. Oli ayinza okujja n'agamba omusajja yabizza kondomu. Oluusi tajabiza bategeeraganya. Nate ng'omuwala akimanyi nti mulamu, najja n'agamba nze banjabirizzaamu kondomu, nze ntwala mu ddwaliro. Olina okumutwala mu ddwaliro n'afuna obujjanjabi.
Currently we have 36 peer educators, so they call us if they have a condom shortage. They notify us, or if they are about to run out of condoms. And then WANETHA works through partners, through the Ministry of Health and through other partners, and we get as many condoms as we require, and we distribute to our members. So we can distribute like 10 cartons per site, and then we also ensure that we have more stored at the organization, so that in case they run out of condoms, we just a call away.
As of that report from Global Health Journal, East African heads of state were considering a bill that would make sure all citizens living with HIV receive equal healthcare and protection. However, would sex workers in Uganda get that equal healthcare?
Many sex workers are not educated about their health, and there is no communication from our government. Like, for instance, if our government can come out, like how our organizations are doing, to have like community dialogue, community HIV dialogues, to have like trainings and all that. They cannot claim their spaces, like going to healthy centers and telling them, I'm a sex worker and I have come to access services, because our government says that we have a right to access services despite of who we are. So they are marginalized, they are discriminated because of who they are. They cannot speak for themselves.
Era olukutuma taata w'omwana nga tomuyina, olutata olubuto nga tomuyina, nga bagamba gwe tetujja kukolako. Kati ne tuba nga tusanze okusoomoozebwa mu malwaliro nga ffe banneeko. Era singa kibadde kisoboka ne batuteerawo eddwaliro lyaffe banneeko ffekka, kyali tuyambyeko ng'abasawo batumanyi nga tugenda ne tubeeyabiza. Naye otuuka ne bakubuza okola mulimu ki, n'ogubanyonyola kifayiro ne bakisuula eri. Kwe batwenyinyala, n'ate nga naffe tuli bantu nga bo, tulina okususulibwa kw'amaanyi. Obwe buzibu bwe tusanze mu mulimu gwaffe ne mu malwaliro.
In some health centers, when they find these particular personnel that we know are not there, they are forced to see others. And sometimes they are stigmatized, sometimes left in the queue to wait because they are sex workers. Somebody will say, this one is a key population, let them be there, let me first deal with others. And so, oblivious of the fact that the more you discriminate, you're actually putting the country at risk.
Ebizibu ebisinga okunyiga banneeko n'obulwadde oluusi bafuniramu obulwadde obwa siriimu, oli n'ayingira omulimu guno nga mulamu, ne wayitawo omwaka gumu oba ebiri okumukebera ng'alina siriimu, ne weebuuza siriimu yamugjawa, nga abasajja ajja n'agamba nze nnina 5, nze kondomu enjokya, ennumya omutwe, ankuwe ssente, bwe ziba 15 naga ankuwe 5, bangi bakkiriza.
also the genital warts. They are very common with them. I think because some of them are immunosuppressed and the HIV positive, so it's very easy to have the vaginal warts. And also we get a challenge in that some of them they have poor adherence to drugs. They don't take their drugs very well. Sometimes they take their drugs halfway and they leave it there, and then they come back complaining the same issue, because I think because of their nature of mobility, they keep on moving from one place to another, this side. So sometimes they keep the drugs and forget to take them. I mean, sometimes they think the traditional herbs work for them best than even these our drugs we give to them, because they have a feeling that sometimes vaginal candidiasis is part of them, because they have been with it for so long, and they think it's not a disease, and they think it can heal by the herbal medicine they take.
For those who are positive, they have a very big challenge because they travel. Today they are in Kampala, the other day they are in Masindi, the other day they are in other areas. So it becomes, the adherence becomes a challenge. They can reach another end and they can't access their treatment. So by the time they come back, already they have missed their 3 days. Much as sensitization is moving on, but it's a very big challenge. Another challenge is that many service providers which are coming on board, now they have that problem. They can feel that, let me go to the other organization. Maybe they can provide even meals for me. They can provide, lunch. They can provide money. So by the time they go there, and when they come back, already they have missed, and nothing has gone on them. Much as we are tackling that issue, because now we have put a lot of emphasis on that for them to adherence. We have a strong follow-up team now, which is working on it. First of all, they rely on herbalists a lot. In whatever they do, they have to think about the herbal side of it. And in a way, many people in their community, that is what they rely on. However, we are trying to see that we remove those myths, because if they have the sexually transmitted infections, for them they believe in their grants. They told them you can go and get this grass and you put it there and this can happen. If they are pregnant and they want to abort, they normally go and get those herbal medicine and they put it there. So because they know that when they go to the doctors they will not accept. And so sometimes by the time they come here already they have got problems.
Uganda is as culturally diverse as it is religious, and religion, owing to the moral regulation of the scriptures, has pushed sex workers further below the moral strata of the self-righteous communities in Uganda.
Kati nga bapasita afena kuzino kubasemberera bakizibu. Kizibu nnyo kubanga muno buli osabira pasita bayagala baasa sente bwezi kyomunyonyola kizibu kyo. Kati abo tubeewala tubeere eno tutula eno ku deski mabega tutunula abutunzi tujja ne tusaba wetumala nga tufuluma tutambula.
And when it also comes to going to mosques, churches, most of us sex workers who are out advocating for our rights, who are known in Uganda, have been chased away from mosques. I'm a live example.
I've managed to work with, not to work with them because I don't work with them. For me, I'm a gospel minister, a pastor, but how I relate to them is just through my preaching to them. Because I was called to preach the good news to all people. As the scripture says here, when we read in Mark chapter 16, verse 15, it says, he said to them, this is Jesus, he said to them, go into the world and preach the good news to all creation. So, we are supposed to preach to all people. We are not supposed to discriminate, that we are not supposed to preach to a certain group of people because of what they do. But what they do is what forces me to go there and preach to them so that they can turn and believe to my God and to my Jesus Christ. And I'm happy, as I've told you, I have some people here in church. They were prostitutes and they can even confess, and the witness, we were prostitutes, but now they turn to Jesus Christ. They are married now, they have children, and they are good, and they no longer do prostitution.
However, behind the shadows of their work, these women have toiled to have a livelihood. They have chosen not to beg, borrow and steal, but use what they have within their means to survive. And despite the challenges, the brutality, the moral justification against their work, and the abuse of human rights, they have registered a couple of success stories.
Omulimu ng'ekyo mufunyeemu nti nagenda oyingira omulimu guno nga nyina ebiruubirirwa byange. Nze mukulu ewaka nalina basisita bange nga banzirako twakuzibwa omukyala nga talina musajja simanyi oba yali nneeko saamulabako naye nga kinnuma nnyo kuba mmange yabula fiizi nga tukyali bato naye nga kinnuma nnyo okugamba nti baganda bange baboneebone nga bwe mbonyeebonye neso ne ngaaka neetunde sobola okufuna ssente naye ebirungi byenfunyemu nti sisita wange anzirako yamala Kyambogo degree in microfinance ng'ate akimanyi bulungi ssente wenzijja ate ne batamusosolera omulimu n'agufuna mu opportunity tebamusosola nkonto oba ssente zava mbwa Neeko sedda nagamba nga nti nti obwa Neeko buno buyinza okubanga bulimu ebisiraani naye nze bwe mbeera kusuulira nkyogera mu lwatu ne mbaga bannange sisitange teyasembako era yakola bulungi nnyo era kati ali mu mulimu gwe sisuubira nti yandigufunye ne mu kuzimba sawa nankimanyi tomuzigo nguvaamu
kyenfunyeemu nina abaana basatu bonna basoma ate nepangisiza kubanga omulimu onguze ne poloti nina poloti
nga ali diabetic nasobola okumubeezaawo mpaka sawa yakakati nti ngula eddagala lya sukali mulago teririiyo naye waali mulamu abaana bange basoma sinze mukyala ddawo ate nenfukamirira omusajja nti ate waayo fiizi ate waayo omwana yalwadde buli kimu nkyemalirira.
Nfunyemu emikwano mu bakyala kimu nabuli wempita bampita kyalo kyonna. Ekyokubiri gumbeezaawo.
Ebirungi byenfunye mu mulimu guno nsobola okwebeezaawo okubeezaawo famire yange n'abaana bange okuba nga mbaweererako okusoma n'okwepangisizaako enju. Ebirungi nga byenfunyeewo mpozi nange okweyimirizaawo. Ekitundu kino okuyambibwa omulimu ng'ogwo kale abasinga bayambibwa kubanga bawona okukwata abaana baabwe, bawona okukwata ebisolo ng'ebyo embizzi, nte ne biba nga tubitaasa.
Sirabangayo mubi bukyanga nkozesaako ku bantu abo. Nyinza okubeerawo nga appetite enetagisa ate nyinza okubeerawo nga omukazi anyimyeko kati ate okugenda okukwata egundi ng'ate nina ssente zambe nina kuddukira mu bo. Kyova lwaki baleeta akantu ako agamba kabasayansewo sayansi waabwe oyo.
At his brothel in Makindye, Patrick names the benefits to the community.
Guno omulimu guyambye kubanga ffe buli dduuka kati eririnaanye mulimu gwaffe guno eryali ery'emitwalo 3 kati lya 8 7 omwezi gumu. Balyongeza lwakuba omulimu gwaffe guno guyambye kuba baba bawagira paka ku makya, bagula paka ku makya ebintu ng'otadde mu dduuka ate bo bwe bagula ssente baleeta ndeete bambitundu birala ne bawagira muceere bugunga biki bintu byonna ebigulibwa sumbusa chapati chipusi byonna nkoko n'ebintu ebiringa ebyo butambaala biki byonna n'ebyo ebiringa ebyo abalala bagula ne sementi kuba bazimba adiwe yebenzigule bagenda nga yejjako ssente tikasasule akasawo naluli akasawo agenda okwebalamu ng'afunye obusawo 20 era balina amayumba kuba neekolera gyange wa kakati baganyulibwamu nti aba bajja ssente ewalala ne bazireeta kuno ate era n'emisana waliwo abasiibawo abantu bagula emboga ffene mapapaali micungwa ne maawa manga da ebintu twebyo ebyokumidaala ffe wano bwe tusirikamu olunaku nga tetwakoze ng'oba erusiya tuyiganyizaamuko kati emidaala ebintu bayiwa biyiwe era bamanyi n'okunkubira amasimu oyambye okyamu ekyo tutaase paata abantu baffe bakomewo kati abatuuze bo babeetaaga.
Where we have trained people, there is significant decrease in arrests. And rapes by the police has also reduced. Assault by the police, because now the sex workers, when somebody wants to arrest them, they don't run. They ask, why do you want to take me? Okay, let's go. They have a right. They will tell them we have a right to speak or not to speak until we get representation. And, you know, once the police know you understand the law, they will not do anything. They will take you within the law, put you in the cell. When the lawyer comes or the paralegal officer from Wanesa comes, and most of them, even when they are arrested, the few that have been arrested around Kampala of late, they are released on police bond. They are no longer sent to court or whatever because the proof is not there. And you know how you prove sex work or what they call prostitution? You must find me in the act, and I should have. There should have been also somebody listening that we were haggling about negotiating what price. So I could be sleeping with somebody in a lodge, but not for money. So how are you going to say that is prostitution? So because the sex workers are aware of their rights, and the police have been sensitized on the sex workers' rights, we have had a middle ground. Sex workers should do this within the law, and the police officers should have, this is the middle line, don't cross it. You know, and so we have seen significant decline in arrests. We have 36 sites, and those 36 sites, we have one peer educator who is also a paralegal, trained personnel. So when issues fall in that site, they report immediately and they interface with the police. And because of the dialogue meetings, the trainings we have had with police and the interface with local councillors and, you know, lodge owners, there is a big and significant decline in police arrests around the 5 districts of Kampala where we are working.
Kitufunyemu kinene nnyo nga poliisi nti tulina empuliziganya mu byonna wakati waffe nabo. Ekirala kitufunyemu nti wakati waffe nabo oluvannyuma okubeera n'empuliziganya eyo tusobodde okuba nti tumanya abantu abakyamu abeerimbika mu bifo byabwe. Bangi ku bo batuyambye okuba nti bavaayo ne baba nti mu nkola eyo batubuulira n'obumenyi bw'amateeka. Bw'ogenda kati bw'ogezanga mu Kampala buzibu tulina obw'abakifeesi. Abakifeesi baali bakolera nnyo mu bifo abantu bonna babeera, era y'ensonga lwaki buli muntu yabalabanga bubi. Naye enteekateeka ennungi yaleetebwa Inspector General Police okuba nti tunoonya ebizibu by'omuntu wa bulijjo. Etuyambye okuba tutuukirira abantu bano, era nga poliisi tukyalina enteekateeka eyokulekanga buli muntu naddala abantu abalinga bano tutambula nabo tube nti ebyokwerinda bweba nti biri ew'omulala newabiki bamanyi kati amateeka gatambula gatya ogewala otya. Ekyo tukyenyumirizamu nga poliisi, era tugamba nti bongere bwongezi baabo balaba nti ekyewuunyisa kati nga wano emakindi n'abamu beesimba ku bifo ebyobukulembeze kitegeeza nti tufunyemu oluvannyuma lwokuba nti basomeseddwa ne baba nti tebakyatya bye baali tebamanyi kati baba nga basobola nabo okwenyigira mu byobufuzi bw'eggwanga lino. Tulaba nti kintu kinene nnyo era eggwanga lino.
Within their organizations, sex workers have found remedies to these challenges.
As Ogera, we are really working hard to see that we address issues concerning legal and health. That is why we work closely with partners. When our members face violations, we always run to these partners that can help us out. But when it also comes to health, we are also closely working with health organizations and friendly health services that give us these services. So as organizations, we link our members to these services directly.
Emotoka entono ezibanguya nga bafunye obuzibu mu malwaliro mulago nakati we muli wano omuntu ayinza okugweri nga ye yalwala tetumanyi naye ng'olumbe lukulidde wano nagweri nga bodaboda gyoyita zonna zigamba nze temundeetera buzibu ng'omuntu yenna agonze tasobola kutwalibwa ku boda nga n'ababoda bamuganye kati tumukuba mu motoka zaffe ne tumutwala emulago Nsambya n'amalwaliro agalinaanyeewo era lumu ne tutaasa obulamu bwe wadde obwabamu bumanyi otulemerera. omulanga gwenkuba abakulembeze abatulaba batuuse ku mukulembeze oluusi oba atatulabye batufeeko ku kibiina kyaffe ekyo empapula tuzirina tuterese buteresi empapula tezituyamba.
I would like to call upon the media houses to start reporting positively about sex workers because they are spoiling our name, they are spoiling the industry. They lie a lot, and it's true, we know you, but this time around I didn't come to name and shame. And for our government, we do appreciate a lot the programs and projects you have for sex workers, but they don't reach to the beneficiaries because you don't want to engage us. We want meaningful engagement for sex workers at all levels. Like Ministry of Health, do we have a committee where you can maybe call like 1 or 2 sex workers to be part of it? Yeah, they can be giving you updates and all issues concerning us. Let's fight HIV together. Stop discriminating sex workers.
I think the police should sensitize police officers that are sent out to patrol, because most times when our sex workers are arrested, we always go to them and claim that our sex workers are arrested, and sometimes they are not even aware of what has happened. So I think it's better for them to sensitize the police officers that go patrolling to know what they are supposed to do when it comes to sex workers and their work. Maybe I would also recommend the partners that we are working closely with that they should really engage us in every step that they take. They should not plan for sex workers. They should engage us in all trainings, because some of our partners don't even know our issues, but they go ahead and plan for sex workers. So I still suggest that they should come on board and we see how we can fight HIV, because this is a challenge for Uganda and not sex workers.
We recommend the involvement of sex workers. The sex workers to be involved at all levels, especially in programs that are going to be implemented. And then we also want to be protected. Sex workers get protection like any other citizens.
Anyone who is watching this is that we should join hands. We put our hands together so that we provide services to the sex workers. We cannot fight HIV internationally and nationally without involving the sex workers. Much as the laws are there, the don'ts are there, the whatevers are there, but people continue playing sex. And with the sex, you cannot tell who plays sex when and how and where. So if we cannot get that, then let us just fight HIV among the sex workers.
Well, maybe I'll start with recommendations to my fellow colleagues in the profession to look at a sex worker, first of all, as a human being. Let's put faces to the human being. And in our profession, you're supposed to take a person's case as their case and not put in your feelings or your perceptions or your, and all sorts of things, your moral, but it is in most cases very difficult for someone to disassociate their moral or Christian beliefs from their professionalism. But for me, I would really call my fellow lawyers to be professional. When you're called upon to represent a sex worker, don't say, please, walk behind me, or we'll meet in court. Let that client be treated with dignity like any other client. Yeah, whether you're actually representing them for money or you're representing them for bono, they should be treated like any other client.
I would appeal to the government of Uganda to stand with maybe to stand with me as a pastor, because I've done something which I think is great to the government of Uganda. The government has no way of changing those people. It has no way. They have no remedy. But to me, I believe I have a solution to those people. And why I say so is just because I have some members who have turned from prostitution, and they were known, they were prostitutes. As by now, everybody says, we wonder what happened to those people. They no longer go to prostitution. They are married now. They have children, and they are good. They are doing it as a business. So I think the government should come and support me. They give me maybe some financial support so that I can continue to preach to those people.
And maybe to say, the president recently made remarks and said, in a meeting with religious leaders, he said, stop following the key populations or the maps. Do your work of teaching and let people do their work. If you teach well, they will change. If you fail to teach, things will continue as they are. And the Inspector General of Police also came out clean and said the police should stop arresting sex workers. So it shows you that there is an attitude change over who a sex worker is, why they exist, and what the government should do to protect sex workers in this country and in the region. I think recognition of sex workers' work is important, because whether we accept it or not, it is the first and age-old business that we have come to find. I'm 46 years old and I found sex work. In my village there were people who used to call sex workers. So whatever we do, whether we legislate or we make false accusations or we do whatever we do, sex work is here to remain.
Maybe I would want to really call upon, first of all, the sex workers themselves to organize. I know they're organized. They have really formed groups and advocacy, and they're doing amazing work. But to organize and go out and demand for more, and demand for really decriminalization of some of those laws. It's until you actually speak about the issues and bring the attention to the Law Reform Commission, for example, that some of those laws that we inherited from the colonialists, that will be reformed, because some of them actually are very outdated, because from the time we inherited those laws, the countries from which we inherited them actually have moved on. And we still have those laws. And we still believe that, you know what, these are the best laws, you know, sex work is against family, sex work is against mania, whatever, all sorts of things. So calling upon the sex workers not to give up, to continue the struggle, to really advocate for better laws, for better policies. It's until then that we'll have an environment, a legal environment that will be in their favor.
What I would like to say is to appeal to all those that are watching me. Don't think that I'm in support of what they are doing, but I'm in serious prayer, praying to God that He may change our sisters, our brothers who are still out there. Because by doing so, I believe I'm doing what I was called to do. And we cannot discriminate those people, because some of those people are our relatives. You will find your brother, your sister, your auntie is doing that. And so we should love them, because God loved us as we were. So through love and through showing them that we accept them as they are, they will open up and tell us more about their lives, which will also give us a chance to think of how we can help them come out of what they are doing.
Therefore, what is law enforcement saying? And how about those that are custodians of the law?
Kusaba kwa byonna mbakubiriza nti bategeere nti ekintu kye bakola kimenya amateeka, singa abakwatiddwa mu kikolo kiringa ekyasobola okuvunaanibwa kubanga amateeka weegali, naye ate tugamba nti baba nti balina okunyigirizibwa okutali kumu okubatuusibwako n'abatali bapoliisi bokka naye n'omuntu omulala yenna, tugamba nti baddembe okuvaayo bajje beemulugunya. Ffe nga ofiisi eno mutawaana gwaffe okugenda okukola omulimu okubakolamu omulimu nga tubasomesa bamanye eddembe lyabwe, bamanye amateeka gayimiridde gatya, gaboogerako ki, omusango gujja gutya, ogwewala otya, babeere ng'omuntu omulala yenna. Bwe nabo tubasuubira okuba nti gye babeera eyo balaba ebintu bingi. So gye tukomye okuba nti ofiisi yaffe situganegana ne basembera tubajjamu okutya ne bategeera nti bantu ne tubagayisa n'omuntu omulala yenna ate nabo ne tubagayisa okuba nti enkyoba luli bakyusa okuva mu kino bagende bakole ekintu ekirala ekitagenda kuba nti kibaviirako okuba nti bayigganyizibwa.
Calling upon the police to look at sex workers as human beings, to do their work as law enforcement, not to just arrest them to extort money from them, not to arrest them because really to harass them, not to abuse them. We have had some cases, instances actually before, where sex workers were beaten up and dressed, paraded before the media because they're sex workers. I remember that time we had to go to the police professional standards unit to complain, and the sex workers themselves lodged complaints, and lucky enough we had the case followed up, and the person in charge, the person who was in charge of the operations that night, was reprimanded and handled accordingly, and the sex workers were happy.
Njagala abantu bonna bakimanye nga situnudde bano bokka ne bakimanye nti bw'obeera mu kitundu kifaanane, omala okukifaanana manya nti omulimu gw'olimu gulina engeri gikontanamu n'embeera z'ekitundu. Beera mwegendereza nnyo, njagala banneeko babeere beegendereza mu mbeera eno. Ekirala njagala bafune security bulamu bwabwe. Security esooka kwe kumanya bwe bayimiridde mu bulamu bwabwe, ennaku zino ensi ndwadde bamanye bayimiridde. Ekirala tubakubiriza okuba nti tebettanira bifo byanzikiza nga bwe bwabanga edda, kubanga abakyamu basobola okubasangayo. Babe nti balipootinga buli kye balabye nga bakiteebereza okuba nti kiyinza okuba nga kibaviirako obuzibu mu kitundu ekyo bwe bali. Babe nti balina enkwatagana ne bannannyini bifo, ne bannannyini bifo babeere n'enkwatagana nabo. Ate bwaba nti waliwo ekintu kyonna ekibatuuseeko nga bo basaze okusigala mu bitundu ebifaanagana nga bye bakoleramu, twagala babeerewo empuliziganya wakati waffe nabo. Ekibatuuseeko babe nti bakitutegeeza, babe nti tebeetiiririza.
Mweze nyumba kungudo, mweze mbalaza eno yembeera. 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 Mweze nyumba kungudo, mweze mbalaza eno yembeera.